Welcome back, everyone, to World Update. It's finally real. I can't believe that literally the first time I mentioned a storage system concept within this series was episode 6. That was 6 years ago. And finally, it is real. I finally have a storage system. Man, I kind of die on the inside when I think about how much time has elapsed from the initial concept to all the iterations and, redesigns along the way to finally building here in survival. It's finally over. This chapter is finally over. A quick overview. The overall layout of the storage halls is that in the shape of an H, and there are 216 bulk storage slices along with 84 MIS categories. I have unsackable sorting with also an allay portion of the unsackable sorter for those unsackables that literally just can't be sorted any other way. There is handling of unsorted and overflow items along with bulk overflow items. There is storage for empty shulker boxes along with crafting of new empty shulker boxes as needed, along with a system for eventually distributing those empty shulker boxes to all the systems around at my base, and a control panel for monitoring the status of the system. But most importantly is the chunk loading control system, which ensures the reliability of the storage system by not allowing any of it to run without the guarantee of the entire chunk loading grid being active and online. After several bug fixes, the storage system has proven itself to be reliable, although it certainly isn't flawless. First among them is, well, there's no in-between tier of storage in between bulk and MIS. You kind of have to make this decision of like, well, I don't have enough of something to put it in bulk, but I have too much of it to put in MIS, so where do I put it? Also, I don't believe into my use of a sequential shulker unloader for bulk item sorting was necessarily the best decision. For one, really high build effort, so it takes a lot of time to build in survival, and two, it's also pretty high latency, meaning it can take a very long time for a shulker box of items to make its way all the way through the sequential shulker unloader. The only benefit it does have is that it's very high throughput once it does warm up. If you're interested in the journey I took to develop this storage system, I did document that. It's a bit all over the place with me adding features, removing features, redesigning and stuff over and over again, but it's there if you want to see it. You'll also find an up-to-date world download of the storage system in the last episode of that series. I've been settling into using my new storage system here, and it has been such a wonderful experience to finally not have to deal with item management. I really made a big mistake a long time ago of not just going ahead and building some small temporary storage system to use in my world, because yeah, what I had previously was a real pain to deal with. I want to talk about some behind the scene changes into my single player world here. First and foremost, since the beginning of last episode, it has not been running in single player. Instead, I have opted to host my single player world on a multiplayer server hosted on my home server, which that's a whole thing I need to make a video on at some point, maybe eventually. This has the benefit that I don't have to worry about logging out while the storage system is running and therefore breaking it, because if I log out, the server's got to keep running and the storage system's got to keep chugging. But more importantly than that is hosting my single player world as a multiplayer server actually really helps with producing content here, specifically in recording replays. ServerReplay is a mod for recording ReplayMod compatible replay files on the server side. The great benefit of this is you can configure it so when you're recording an area of chunks, that recording will automatically pause and resume depending on whether or not the area is loaded or not. This makes it so convenient to just say log in, work on a project for 15 minutes, and then just log back out, and it handles into resuming and pausing the replay for me. So convenient. Takes out all the pain of recording replays, and it even recently got support to record flashback compatible replays. You know how last episode I mined way too much deep slate by hand when creating this perimeter? Well, actually, I don't think I did mine too much by hand, because I decided to slab the entire floor of my base perimeter with cobbled deep slate, so yeah, that worked out pretty well. The floor placer that I utilized for slabbing the perimeters is a design by Glowsquid. You can find the Lightmatic for it on the Slimestone Tech Archive Discord server. Speaking of the Nether, it has also been slabbed, as you can tell in the time lapse, and I also opted to slab into the center area. That way there's no more hazard of me potentially falling in the void and losing all my stuff. But more importantly, I can finally move around my Nether perimeter without becoming the target of multiple ghast attacks. Oh, I almost forgot to mention, I did decide to use blackstone as the material for slabbing my entire perimeter. I like it. I think it really fits in well here in the Nether. I also considered placing blackstone all along the ceiling of the perimeter, but unfortunately the ceiling placer I was looking at, I couldn't really figure out how to deliver items to the player with it, like I could for the floor placer. So I've shelved that idea for now, maybe later. The ice farm has received an update. I decided to rip out all the old storage and manual crafting and replace it with automatic crafting using the crafter block. I also decided to add accessible storage for the bamboo and cactus, and even some of the cactus green if I get here, because before I didn't really have access to that, which is, kind of dumb considering that the ice farm also doubles as a bamboo and cactus farm, since, well, I need bamboo and cactus in order to fuel into my furnace EXP farm down here. I have a button selector panel to prioritize what type of ice I want to collect, and since recommissioning this ice farm, I have mined an additional 19 million ice. But I haven't mined that on my main account. You see, another benefit to having my single player world as a server is that I can fully utilize into CarpetMod bots and also into my extra Minecraft accounts. You may have noticed this during the time lapse where I had one of my alternate accounts run the floor placer while my main account focused on more important things like keeping the floor placer fed with items, building the next floor placer, and removing into the last one, etc. I guess the question becomes now, can I call my single player world a single player world? I mean, I am the only player playing in it, there's just more of me now. When I decommissioned this farm, I didn't think as if I would be bringing it back to life. I mean, for one, it was just gonna be too inadequate for my insane demand for ice. But since the pearl cannons are back on the table, and, well, back on the table for real as of 1.21.6, my insane demand for ice at this point has completely melted to where this little farm here is perfectly adequate for my needs. At the end of last episode, I asked you all a question, and, well, I don't have an announcement today, but I do have an announcement of an announcement. I am working on the tool. So far, I've written over 5,000 lines of technical debt, and I'm hoping to get an initial release out within the next few months. Thank you to those who left encouraging comments last episode on this. It really was a factor in me deciding to take up developing the tool. Stay tuned to the channel, I will upload a dedicated announcement video when it is ready. Man, DistantHorizons plus Complementary Shaders just looks so good. Which leads me to the last thing for this episode. I have made a promise on multiple occasions that I would release a world download of my world when the storage system is complete. And well, it's complete and I'm a man of my word. But there is a bit of an asterisk here. My world file size is currently 50 gigabytes. It is unreasonable for me to host this online. Cloud storage ain't cheap. So the world download is going to be heavily pruned in order to get it under 1 gigabyte in size. Now the good news is all the builds that I've done in this world will be included in the world download, with one key exception: the Blue Ice Highway project to the world border. There's just no way I could include it without adding on multiple gigabytes to the world download, so it had to go. Anyways, everyone, that's gonna be it for this episode. Until next time, I'll catch y'all later. Bye.